Hey there again, guys. So, believe it or not, there is a method that Action PC Football has to determine basically the relative strengths of different teams. There's a strength of schedule mechanism within the game. It's not something that I understand completely, but it's something that I think that we can look at here and take sort of an initial look at as I try to learn a little bit more about this. So, trying to decide where to put my face, I'll put it back down there. There we go. Here we have, this is the 1980 NCAA database. I think that this is a user-created database. I am trying to remember where I got this from. I'm pretty sure that it is. It's taken me a while to find this, right? Because if you click on a team like Florida State, you'll get this information. You get like the team. You can look at the quarterbacks, the running backs. You can look at the stats. You can look at the history. But it won't tell you what you're looking for, right? Action PC Football, believe it or not, is kind of a mess when it comes to this stuff because there's all sorts of things you can look at, but it's not really that well put together. Now, you have to go up here and see, I have a high amount of RAM and a good processor, and it still takes forever. It's because this is programmed in Visual Basic. You have to go up here to, let's see if I can find this again. I think it's over Team Information. Yeah, that's it. And this is where you will see the information about schedule strength. So Air Force, for example, has a schedule strength of 6, right? Alabama has a schedule strength of 9. Now, there's stuff here that I think is somewhat controversial, right? So we look at BYU, which played fairly well in 1980. In fact, we'll go look that up here, assuming my browser actually loads here on Windows. BYU had a schedule strength, according to them, of 9, which I think is very questionable. This is also the incorrect stadium. They were at Cougar Stadium in Provo, or you could also call it Lavelle Edwards Stadium. There it is, in Provo, Utah. So you save it there. Like I said, I mean, I think that this is probably a fan-created season, so it's probably not something we have to worry about necessarily that much. Utah, meanwhile, had a schedule strength of 5, right? And you have to start asking yourself questions about teams that are in like the same conference with a very different schedule strength. But this is important because when you're looking at comparing teams and playing teams that don't play against each other that often, you need to keep the schedule strength in mind. I mean, that's the thing that's going to create the differentiation between each team. Now, we go look at BYU in 1980. What we see is not a great schedule. They lost to New Mexico the first game of the season. They won every game after that, right? But, I mean, who are they playing? Where's your strong schedule at? I mean, they did beat SMU, who was number 19, and BYU ended up ranked sort of high, and then they kind of fell down a little bit in the overall rankings, right? But, I mean, who else did they play, right? They did win at Hawaii, so that's a hard game. But, like, Long Beach State, playing at Wisconsin and winning. I mean, maybe. How was Wisconsin in 1980? Oh, yeah, that's right. They were pretty bad, 4-7, right? I mean, as you can see the problem here, right? Now, I know from looking on the Action PC forums that you see a similar problem when it comes to like the 1984 BYU team that I think they give a 10 to. There's no 10 there for the strength of schedule. So why is this important? Well, it turns out that schedule strength in Action PC Football is the thing that's going to make it so that one team will end up being better or worse or whatever than another. You have to have it. You absolutely have to have something like this for there to be a comparison between teams that didn't meet in real life. This is largely a result of the small sample size that is a problem that plagues especially college football, right? There's not enough games to really tell teams apart. So, Florida State has a 9 for a strength of schedule, right? Whereas, Fresno State has a 5, right? So Florida State plays Fresno State. All other things held equal, Florida State should have the upper advantage because they played more difficult opposition than did Fresno State in 1980, right? That's sort of the way that it works. So what does all of this mean? Well, as you know, we're taking sort of a break from playing through the game right now, although some people are a little bit upset about that. I've received some interesting comments. We're taking a little bit break for the time being because we want to get 2023 underway with a completely redrawn college football landscape. Now, when we do that, though, we're going to have to pay some special attention to strength of schedule and make sure that it comes out right. We may have to do some testing just to see what happens if we change things a little bit because we want to make sure that it's fair and equitable for teams, but we also want to make sure that we don't have a team that wasn't really that good in real life or played a bunch of nobodies have a boost when it comes to playing like Michigan Michigan and Ohio State and some of the teams that we know are really good, right? It doesn't mean, and hopefully strength of schedule doesn't mean this, it shouldn't mean that, one team cannot beat another team no matter what, right? But I would say that you have to be very, very cognizant of this feature, and you have to take a really close look at it. I think that here in the future, we'll probably do a little bit of testing and see what happens when we change a couple of the strength of schedule variables here and there for various teams to see sort of what result it creates for us. So there you have it. That's it for today. And let me know what you think down below. We'll talk a little bit more next time. Bye-bye.